Gold has been making some really insane moves, basically making all-time high after all-time high after all-time high for weeks and months. And it is just very interesting and a really cool time to be a trader. So in this video, I'm going to break down 3 separate trades that I took in 1 week on gold, basically gaining 500 plus pips in this particular market and also growing a very small account of $550 to 235% gain. So basically almost tripling the account, which is pretty exciting. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into the trades where I'm going to show you what I was thinking before, during, and then just some things that I wish I would have did differently. And this should help you be able to reflect in your own trading and then obviously become a better trader from there. So here is the first trade here. This was a buy trade that I was looking to take, and I've been using a lot of trend lines here lately. I wasn't using them before, but now I am because I actually really do like them now that I fully understand them. So I have this consolidation here. It looked like price was getting ready to break out, and I wanted to be prepared in order to take a trade and enter this gold buy. But I was working and I missed the breakout, and then also I learned a lesson here. The trend line alert did not go off, so by the time I saw this trade, it was already about 20 pips in profit, and I didn't just want to chase the trade. I wanted to wait for price to come up here and possibly reject this level and then look for an opportunity to enter into the trade on a pullback, and that's exactly what I did. So price came up, came down, and I entered this trade around here and just continued to ride this trade up. As you can see, this is what happened when I first got into the trade, down. So immediately after I hit that buy button, the price went down. So it's just something that happens to everybody. So if it happens to you, not anything to be alarmed. Just as long as your original idea is still valid, then it's all good. So here is this trade. I'm still in this trade, and this is maybe about 30 or so minutes later, basically just popping in and out of profitability. Price in this situation consolidated a lot. So this is eventually what price did do. And if we look at, kind of that zone where I entered, price remained in consolidation for hours, or actually just for hours. And then we had some really nice breakouts later, but basically you can see that the price did not hit my stop loss, of course, and price barely got to it. So it may have only gone 25 to 30% of the way down and never was in any real danger of hitting my stop loss, which is amazing when trades work out that way. And then as you can see, price just pushed up and just made all-time highs. So this was my target around 20, or actually 32.60, and it did hit that, but I actually got out around 32.51 or 32.52, somewhere around that area. And at that point, price had made a new high inside the market, and instead of risking anything, I just wanted to take my money and go, and I'm glad that I did. And price actually did push up even more after this, which is insane. So I'm really happy for that trade. And just looking at the stats here, I only had a 0.25 lot, $659 profit, and 264 pips inside of this market, which was a 100 and almost 23% gain on this really small account. So that is really exciting, of course. And then since I held this trade over 2 trading days, they did charge $11.66, and in some brokers it'll be called something like a swap fee. Here they just said it was financing, so that's just what that broker calls it. But essentially it's a swap fee because you're holding it from session, or not session to session, but trading day to trading day. If you are tired of missing out on gold, in this blueprint you're going to get an easy to follow profitable gold trading table, as well as profitable entry levels and strategies. If you've tried to decode things like FOMC, geopolitical events, you may have tried without much success. And in this blueprint, you're also going to master simple strategies that the big players like banks and institutions follow, and then also be able to spot profitable opportunities so that way you could avoid some of the common traps that other traders fall into. And then, of course, you're going to save hours of research with a clear and actionable plan inside of the gold market. Just take a look at what some people people are saying about this. So go ahead and grab your copy of the Profitable Go Market Blueprint today. So that was trade number 1. So now let's go ahead and go over to trade number 2. Okay, so here we are on trade number 2. And this was a really interesting trade, especially because the market was making all-time high after all-time high, and I wanted to take a short. That was within itself very risky, but price did reach a point where it created a resistance at one of these all-time highs, and I wanted to catch the move going back. So I just wanted to catch some pips on the downside, and basically I was testing out some skills that I had learned and things that I've observed inside of the market as well. So it ended up working out, but it was really tough to trade, and I'm going to show you why in these next few pictures. So basically the thing that I saw was like price was making some sort of consolidation over here, and I didn't get this breakout for some reason. I think I may have been away from my computer, but I did track the price to this area, and if we look on the M5 time frame, you can see that on this really strong bearish engulfing candle, I did enter this trade. Now in hindsight, it was a little bit risky entering here, mainly because we have these 2 wicks here, and this was showing some level of exhaustion. And then if we look over here, we have wicks, wicks, wicks. So price could have just rejected the zone, and that would have been the end of my trade. And let me show you here. So price actually did do that. So I entered the trade, and then price looked like it was going down, but then it totally reversed and almost took me out. So you can see up here, actually let's just start with these candles right here. Price just continued to push up. I don't know what it was about the 10 o'clock hour Pacific. I believe that is pre-London session that's starting at that point. So there was a lot of volume that came inside of the market at that time, and I seriously thought I was going to get stopped out. So I saw these candles, and then I saw this really strong candle that ended up closing a really weak kind of doji and just rejected this level of 33.43. I was like, okay, price went all the way up to the top, and you can see that right here it looks like I got stopped out. But the thing that I learned was the broker that I use, anytime you put on a trade, they add about 7 pips of stop loss. Now I don't know why they do that. It's probably some sort of risk management thing on their side, which makes a lot of sense because a market like gold, especially during this time, is very volatile. So I'm thankful for that because it kept me in the trade. I was so close to getting stopped out, but I did it. And then once I saw these 2 candles, I'm like, okay, price is going to go in my direction, and price continued to do that. So let's go ahead and go to the next. So you can see, like, after all this craziness here, price looked like it was going up, but then it just totally reversed with this candle right here. I was like, okay, now we're really going in my direction. It did go around a little bit. It looked like it was coming back up, but since this rejected, it had this really big rejection wick right here, I was thinking, okay, like it's bullish, but we're still going down. And that's exactly what happened. So you can see just, this price looking like this, where basically it was breaking this kind of level right there, or getting ready to break this level right here, which is actually a good sign for me. And at this point, we still have a minute 49 on this 5-minute candle, but this is how it's looking. But of course, I've seen candles totally reverse in the last 5 seconds, and you probably have too. So just something to consider there. And throughout this entire trade, I actually saw this right before I was going to bed, and I stayed up because I wanted to continue to be a part of this move, but eventually I just called it quits. So basically, price was respecting market structure, making higher highs or lower highs, lower lows, lower high, lower low, and just continuing to go down. But around this area here, in the real time, I kept seeing a lot of price just like act really weird in this area. So my profit targets, my initial one was right here, and it broke that. I was like, okay, great. And then my second profit target was here, and then ultimately all the way down here. Now price did eventually get down to here, but I I didn't want to hold it because I wanted to go to bed. So, and I'm glad that I got out of the position, mainly because on the exit, I exited somewhere around here. This really strong bullish engulfing candle started to form, and it just was what it was. So I'm really glad that I got out of that sell right there. And as you can see, let's see, here's another screenshot where basically I had another 0.25 lot, and then the profit, and then 104 pips. So I really like to just focus on the candles and not really look at this P&L, just so that I can focus on market structure and see what that's doing. Because if I get too attached to the money, then I'm just going to focus on the money, and then I'm going to close out early. I know that's something for sure that I was doing earlier in my trading, and over the past couple of years, I've just been trying to just look at the candles and not look at the P&L. But I do come over here to look at the pips because I'm trying to target 100 pips at least. So that, and as you can see on this particular sell trade, this was a total of 118 pips. So I was able to squeeze out some more pips from this market. And this one trade was about a 25% gain on this account, which is obviously amazing considering that I started at $555. So pretty awesome. And the first trade and then these other trades I do put inside of my Profitable Traders Academy, so that way people can get a sense of what I was looking for during that particular time, and then take some things away that's going to help them in their own trading. So if you want to be a part of that, go ahead and check out the description box below where you'll find the link to the Profitable Traders Academy. Join us and improve your trading 100%. Okay, so here's the third trade, and I wanted to focus on buys because after all of that drama with the sells, I just wanted to focus on buys. I wanted to continue with the trend and not really have all the issues that I saw or that we just talked about a moment ago. So in this particular trade, this idea was essentially a bounce trade because looking on a higher time frame, I saw that this kind of zone was a really strong demand zone, which means that price has a higher likelihood of going up from this level. So I just waited for an opportunity. So I saw that price made some sort of resistance here, cool, made a support here, cool, and then once price broke this resistance and formed another resistance, I was like, okay, I need to find an entry point somewhere between here and here. And for me, the best entry point was right around here on this bullish candle. So that was my entry point. I've created another community here on School called Consistent Profitable Traders. And if you want to join, you can go to school.com/traders in order to join this free membership. I have a number of things here inside of the community. You can see that the community is growing. There are people being added almost every single day. And then inside of the classroom, I do have some things here. I'm constantly adding new things, new resources for new traders. And if you go over to the calendar, then you'll see that I have a monthly call with everybody inside of this group. So if you want to join this community, go ahead and go to school.com/traders and I'll see you there. All right. And this was the other thing about this particular trade where the price consolidated for quite a while. So about an hour or so before it broke out. So once it broke out to the upside and stayed there, that was actually a really good sign for me to continue to hold the trade, even though in this consolidation here, I didn't think that I needed to close out this trade at any point. It didn't hit my stop loss, and it may have came maybe 50 to 60%, maybe like 50% close to my stop loss. So there was no real danger there. So continue to hold the position. And as you can see, price did get into this zone of the previous resistance, which is good. And it started to sell off at that point just a little bit, but price continued to push and push and push. And up here was my ultimate take profit, and that was at 33.16. However, I did not hold it to that level, mainly because this orange zone here was some sort of rejection zone or exhaustion zone. And I knew that at least if I got my 100 plus pips, then I would be totally okay with exiting this position. And that's exactly what I did. trade. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. So you can see that price did tap into this level and it started to reject, forming that bearish engulfing candle. And you can see very clearly here on the 5-minute time frame where it did that as well. So at this point, I was really satisfied with the profit, and I got out somewhere around this 33.11 area, getting over 100 pips. So we can see here it is inside of my broker. You can see my entry and the exit. So I exited somewhere around here, and you can see that I got about 126 pips, which I was more than satisfied with. $314 net profit on this particular trade. Of course, there's commissions and overall. So here is how the week ended up with these 3 trades. So I took 2 buys, 1 sell, ended up gaining, this is the dollar amount, so $12.56. I started this account roughly with $550 and 509 pips, and then a 235% gain on this account. So it goes to show that it doesn't necessarily mean that you need a lot of money to trade. You just need to have the skill and the patience, 100% patience, in order to grow your account, because we may want it fast, but we just gotta wait to see what the market wants to do. And then we also have to just get what the market gives us, because I could have held for those longer positions as you saw, but I didn't want to risk money that I already had inside of the account. So I'm really glad that I stuck with that bias, and I will continue to adjust as I need to in the future. And hopefully you were able to gain some insights from this video on this particular trading style. If you want to see more videos like this, go ahead and give this video a like and subscribe to this channel in order for me to be encouraged to make more of this content, because it's 100% for free. It's here on YouTube. So if you want to see more, go ahead and do that, and I'll see you next time.